Welcome to everybody on the Zoom. Since you did not hear me earlier, I'm sorry that it's taken so long. Glad to see everyone. Does the screen look funny to you right now? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, we're getting it fixed and we will get going. All right, we're a little bit behind, but we're going to catch you up, I promise. Oh yeah, where did the other one go? Okay. All right, we're going to start with Greg Massiola, immediate past president, and he is our public image chair, and he will start the show for us. Do you need this?
Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Sorry for all the hassles. So I'm going to talk about DAC-DB, and I'm going to talk about public image real quick. And then I've got a public image seminar later this morning. But how do you like DAC-DB so far? All of you newbies to DAC-DB, right? Okay, so think about DAC, just a second. Hey, Deb, make sure that they're hearing me, okay? Think about this. At your company, don't you track data? You track employees? You track money? Okay, that's what DAC-DB is doing. That's what DAC-DB is, a database so that we can interact with Rotary International. And I know it's not the most intuitive thing, but I'm sure that at some of your places of work, you complain about the same thing. This isn't very intuitive. I've offered for the last 2-3 years, if your club wants me to come by or we can do a Zoom, I'll teach you how to do DAC-DB. My other suggestion, and I have it on a slide here, is that you ought to look at your club getting an executive secretary, someone who takes care of DAC-DB, and they can do it 2-3 years, 4 years, and they take care of that. Because you can't learn DAC-DB in a year. I can guarantee that. And you probably want to pick an OCD person, probably better. All right, give me the next slide, Deb. Deb? Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is my commercial. Back when I was a kid, I got to fly airplanes. So an F-106, F-4, F-16s. Seems like a long time ago. Okay, just a little commercial. All right, so here's the agenda on DAC-DB. You can love it or hate it, but you got to use it. Now, if you're from Hamilton Place, you don't use DAC-DB, but you still need to use DAC-DB to log in for registrations and stuff like that. There's a lot of features that you can use to make your club more engaged. Get the red out and consider a club executive secretary. Okay, next slide. So if you're an officer and you log, who does not know how to log into DAC-DB? Okay, if you're going to change something, you need to put your club number in there when you log in. If you don't put your club number in there, you can't do any editing. Does that make sense? You all know that? Yes? Okay. Next. Here's all the icons that they have. The first 6 on the top line are the ones that show up in the shortcuts. I'm not going to show you that. You can move them around. All right, next slide. Club photos. This is my club. Go to the next slide. Not a lot of photos. Go to the next slide. Okay, here's my club directory. I'm going to pass, I've made a couple copies. How many of your clubs does a club directory? Okay. Why do you do a club directory, Bonnie? Here, pass it around. Yeah, why do you have a club directory?
So we will know all the information we need to know about each other to get in contact.
Imagine that, eh? Like a phone book. You can, if you can pass those around so people can see what's in there. Because here's the deal go to the next slide. So this is a club directory of a club that doesn't have any photos. So how does a new person come into your club? He gets a club directory and there's no photos, if he even gets a club directory at all. All you got to do is set up on every week. If someone can't give you a headshot, this camera does a lot of things. It's magic. Take photos of the person and 150 by 150 pixels and throw it in there. Okay, go back one if you would, Deb. So here's, so this way, this is my club and this is what I'm passing around. So every time you get a new club member, you can run a new directory, doesn't cost you anything, and you send it electronically. Make sense or not? I don't know. Okay. All right, go 2 more slides now. All right, so we already asked this question. Go ahead. All right, get the red out. How many understand what Rotary International Integration is, RA integration on DAC-DB? Okay, how many have never heard that term before? Okay, I cannot get logged on to our Rotary International, but if you go to DAC-DB and you put up your club members, on this side is RA integration. Now, Ginny, you might not know it because Kate takes care of that. But this is the integration that you get when you put a new member into Rotary.org and you want to transfer them into the club. You go here and you move them over. Go to the next slide. Well, I'm sorry, go backwards. I'm sorry, go back. So you can see this is my club on the right side. There's one office address that won't correct. And this is another club's list of all the red. So you can see there's home address, office, name is wrong, start date, office email, all that is in red. I go to some clubs and they have people who've been terminated a year ago and they're still sitting in DAC-DB. I also just worked with a club that put a person in to DAC-DB February of last year, but never got him into Rotary. And we had to go back to Rotary to get him backdated all the way to last February. If you're gonna enter somebody, a new member, and this is what I'm telling you guys and gals as presidents, put it through, go into Rotary.org and put a person into, your new member into Rotary.org. It'll also check so that you don't get duplicate, an additional, 2 membership numbers and things like that. And then after you do that, then you go to DAC-DB and you go to RA integration and boom, it moves them right over. And he or she's in the system. The other thing is, this is where you can do officers also. You can put the officers in DAC-DB and move them over to Rotary.org. All right, next. You can also email all of your club members, or you can text all of your club members. But the only way you can text somebody is you have to put in their cell number and you have to put in the carrier. And then you can text people. Okay, next. All right, that's what I'm saying. Consider someone as club executive secretary. The other thing is there's an app called Cookeville Rotary. Cookeville Rotary app. You should get that. You can go to the store, or the iOS store. Cookeville Rotary app. You can pull up someone's number. You can actually, on that app, if you're up at the right level, you can change someone's password and everything else. It is the best app. Cookeville, thank you. I think that's the Noon Club who did that. All right, next. Okay, public image. So go next. People of Action. Who's heard of People of Action? Yes, all right, that's good. Who knows where the brand center is on Rotary.org? Not so good, okay. Press releases, club annual report, okay, next. Go ahead, you got it, these are in. So involvement, use the word engagement, use the word involvement, go ahead. Results in higher levels of satisfaction, commitment, responsibility, and lower levels of frustration. One more. And you make better decisions. Okay, just one thing I offer to people when I learned this a long time ago, because I'm a high D and I like things to go this way, but if you got your team around you and you're trying to solve a problem or make a decision, give your input last. I tracked this for a year. 75% of the time, the team either came up with the same decision I did or typically better decisions. But what's the difference between that, me telling them what it ought to be or they coming up with the decision? What's better? Yeah, they own the decision, right? And you know, you're paying people not just for their skills, but for their brain power. And why not get their input? And once they know they're going to give you, you're going to pay attention to their input, they're going to come with you. And you know, we got leaders in our club. You know, all these people in our clubs, they got a lot of good decisions. So go ahead. Logical acceptance, okay. Yeah, see the first, wait, go back, I'm sorry, I forgot I got all the stuff on this slide. One more. So what you get then is psychological or emotional acceptance of the decision when they own it. And better decisions because then you got logical acceptance. And again, it's they're owning it. Okay, go ahead, Deb. What's your image? Is this your image? Is this the kind of pictures you put up, right? Stay classy, Rotary, right? Okay, go to the next slide. All right, so here we got action pictures. We got the Farragut Club working on a creek. We've got, I forget where this other one is in the middle. And then you got Fred Heitman, you know, at the Interact conference where he gets spray painted from the clubs that gave a lot of money. Okay, go ahead. Research shows, I know I'm going to read this to you because you all can't see it. 75% of respondents are aware of Rotary, 35% are unfamiliar, 41 are familiar with local clubs. Members are not like me. You've got this campaign with Connect, Inspire, End Polio, and so forth. Okay, go ahead. Benefits of a great public image: increased visibility, increased membership and contributions, partnerships and support for local projects, and engage members, and it goes around and around. Go ahead. I'm trying to make up for time. This is the brand center on Rotary.org. This is where you can make a logo for your club and things like that. This is where you can get the official, current. I still see people having old logos and things like that. All right, next. I guess I should ask, how many of you have a log on to Rotary.org? There's another question. Okay, all right, good, all right. Then there's the guidelines for the different areas. Go ahead. This is where you can make logos. They've got trifolds you can make and create and everything else. Go ahead. So maximize your online presence. Is contact information easy to find? Is it free of Rotary jargon? They don't know what PDGs and DGs and RPICs are or any of those things. Are there pictures? If you can use a picture or a graphic, you're way ahead. Do you refresh your content regularly? And whenever you're on a project and that, this camera does magic stuff. Take a video. How many saw the video of the golf tournament we did? Okay, a few of you did on the district website. With this and this microphone, 34 bucks from B&H. If you're trying to film somebody who's 30 feet away, you can't do it. If you plug in a microphone into this phone, you can hear them really well, and I can show you how to do that. We don't have time. Next slide. Freshen up your website, keep it fresh. When I was the public image guy for the zone, I used to go to these meetings and I would pick randomly some clubs to look at their website and their Facebook pages, and some hadn't been current in a year. So I don't know what the heck they're doing with them. All right, next. I think I'm intentionally left blank. Okay. The other thing I'm supposed to talk about is Rotary Club Central. Cindy sent you all those handouts on Rotary Club Central. This is where you put your goals. And you should already have goals in for next year. I was looking at the list for, you can take the slide down, Deb. I was looking at the Rotary citation list, and there's a lot of clubs that don't have enough goals in even to earn the citation. So again, anything on Rotary Club Central, talk to your assistant governors. If they can't help you, call me. I'll be glad to help you through that. I know I've been helping some people in the room here. I'm more than happy to help you. I don't have a life, so don't worry. Just let me know, and I'll be glad to set up a time. We'll set up a Zoom, and we'll figure it out, okay? All right, that's all I've got. Thanks. Well, I'm supposed to.
Is that about the right place? Good morning, everybody. We had a little bum fuzzling this morning, but we're going to get on track. How's everybody doing? You got your coffee, your sugar? You going to be asleep after a while? If you go to sleep, we'll make that noise again, and you'll regret it. Remember that? Okay, so don't go to sleep on us. So training. This seems like a bad word sometimes because we are always asking you to give a little bit more of your time. But I want to tell you that I think it's really worth it. And of course, I'm the training leader for the district now. And so maybe I'm biased. But I do think that you need to understand that we're trying to help you make the clubs be as good as they can be. That's our whole goal. And oftentimes you have people in your club who have been in a position for a really long time and they don't think they need any training. Does anybody have anybody like that in their club? I do. Okay. Well, if they don't come to training, they won't know what Cindy Gammons, our district governor, would like for them to do this year. And everybody needs a little guidance. And I guarantee you that they will learn something if they will just come to training. So ask them to come with you to these training events. Say you'll drive them there. Do whatever it takes. We've all been in other organizations where the best way to get people to something was to bring them, right? Well, Rotary's the same. I have made so many friends that I have carried to training events who they have district positions. They've gone on through Rotary because they saw the benefit. And it's a good way to make friendships deeper. So traveling together is a huge way of deepening your relationships with your club members. And how can you go wrong there? All right, so I want to tell you, Greg, I sent you an email with these dates isolated just a few minutes ago, and we can send it to him at the end if you don't have time to open it. But you got this, pull this out of your file folder. It says important dates. It's toward the back, I think on the right side maybe. Okay, pull that out, and I just want to highlight the training events, and you might want to put these on your calendar. This important dates is, you don't have to do everything on here. Some of these are district events, they're zone events. You might not be engaged in any of that. But the things that you are engaged should be training events. And so the first thing on there is August 7th, the Vibrant Clubs Workshop. Who attended that last year? This is a new method that we're using for training. And this is a way to help your clubs operate better in the committee format, is one of the things that we do. And it's just a great opportunity for you to learn. What we had, John Downs attended several of the sessions because we had 2 a night for 4 or 5 nights. Anyway, it's a good opportunity to learn about, if you don't know what the club administrator is supposed to do, then come to something like this or come to the Vibrant Workshop. Then you see August 14th and August 21, that's Rotary Leadership Institute. If you don't know what RLI means, you know, Rotary does that thing where we do all these abbreviations. So Rotary Leadership Institute, that has been so well received. We're in our 3rd year of that, thanks to Debbie Alexander Davis. She got that off the ground for us. And people are enjoying learning more about Rotary. It's an intensive training course. It's 3 parts, and you get a workbook and things like that. And we do that. We're going to try to go back to in-person for that as well. But we've had really good success with that, and people enjoy it very much. And John was just telling me he did the graduate course, and you enjoyed that too, right?
I did, very much.
Yes, so great. Then on October 23rd, there's PETS orientation and district grant training. Let me tell you why that's important. If you don't get another president lined up at your club to go to that training and become president next year, that means you have to be president again. So are y'all going to highlight that one? PETS orientation, they need to have, the president there for training. Everybody understand that? Zoomers, do y'all understand that? Do y'all got that? You have to be president again. If you don't find somebody to line them up. Okay. I pointed at them. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Okay, so that's important. And then there's district grant and global grant training. Why is that important? You may decide you want a grant. Your club may decide you want a grant. You want to have somebody at that training. Put that on your calendar. It's really, really important. And then you see on November 6th and 13th, another group of sessions for Rotary Leadership Institute. So if they don't start in August, they could start in November with Rotary Leadership Institute. There are dates on the back of that page. You have to turn it over. And March 17th is really important. That's the other PETS training, President-elect training seminar that you better have somebody at, because if you don't, you will be there. Okay? So that's really important. And then next year, this same event will be on May 14th. And this is our first time at this venue, and we like it so far. If we can get all the AV stuff worked out, we will probably be back here, because that gentleman who introduced himself earlier has allowed us to be here free of charge. So we like that. And they have assisted us, gave us coffee, everything. So if you see that gentleman, thank him for those benefits. Now, are there any questions about what training is, or should you come? The answer is always yes. Okay, yes.
Have you shown this list to Tony?
Yes, the president behind him has, well, actually, he has not seen this list, but I'll show him today. President-elect for next year. Okay. All right, Cindy, anything else about training? Okay, I'm supposed to turn this over to Debbie Alexander Davis. Debbie, will you unmute yourself and tell us all your lovely information?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
I'm sure you'll find it. Did you look up there?
Yes.
I can't tell. Okay, thank you. I wanted to be sure. It's a pleasure to be with you. It looks like we had a good crowd, and there's a wonderful...
Debbie, they say they can't hear you.
Oh, well, I'm up as loud as I can get. It's as loud as my computer will go.
Debbie, we can't hear you locally, so give us a second here and just go ahead and keep talking, so eventually if we hear you, we'll know.
Well, you definitely don't want me to sing, so let's see. I hear something about a cell phone in the background. Greg, I have my sound up as loud as it'll go.
On their end, Debbie, they've got to sort something out.
Got it. He said for me to keep talking, though. So I'm trying to think of things to say without actually talking about content. I saw that. Hello.
Debbie, you hear us?
I can hear you.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Yay. Congratulations. So I'll start over, but I'll be very quick. I'm Debbie Alexander Davis. I had the honor of succeeding Beth Stubbs as Rotary Foundation Chair this year. It's been an amazing year, and I know that next year is going to be a great year too. So I look forward to working with all of you. We have a team in Foundation, and I don't know that we have a lot of people on today, but what I will be doing for the Indy, a list of contact information for all the different chairs and sub-chairs on the Foundation Committee. So basically what we have is what I like to call a giving team and a spending team. So we have someone for annual fund, we have someone for the Paul Harris Society, John Downs will be talking to you later about polio, and we have a chair for endowment and major donors. Then in terms of spending, we have global grants, district grants, all those things that you guys have been so great about exploring and getting for your clubs and attending training, and we appreciate that so much. Beth told you the training dates earlier, and I hope that we have an even bigger turnout this year than we had, well, the upcoming year than we had for this current Rotary year. We also have global scholars, we have Peace Fellows, we have people who work with those areas. We have an international service chair who can help you develop projects in other countries. And we hope that one day when it's a post-COVID world, we'll be able to once again do what's called a vocational team training, where we send people to another country or they send people to us, and it's professionally oriented. So it might be teachers or doctors or nurses or economists, but people who go and then assist other countries in that area. And we would love to get that started again. We do track giving. We also track projects, and I'm happy to just briefly tell you that all the projects for this year, district grants, are closing out. You guys have done an amazing job in very difficult circumstances. We have filed our spending plan for next year. Those of you who have applications will hear soon about approval and your grant number, and you can start planning ahead for next year. That's all I'm going to say today. I want to help catch us up, but also there is a foundation session this afternoon, and you should have received a reminder notice today if you registered for that. That will give you the link once again. And we have a great turnout, and I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
I guess it's me, huh? It's me. All right, let's see if we can get everything to work. I don't know, is everything working? Can we hear me now? Yeah, go ahead. Okay, can they hear me on there?
Yes.
All right, super, it took off just like that. Hi, I'm John Downs. I am the chair for End Polio Now for District 6780. I'm also the AG for Area 16. And I'm gonna talk to you just for a minute about polio. Usually we talk a lot about the money that we try to raise, and we're going to do that, but I think first we need to talk about the polio. So for those who may not be completely familiar with the disease, it is it enters the body through the mouth. It manifests in the gut and then is passed out through the waste. And it's spread by human to human contact, usually in areas that have really poor hygiene. The one thing that is often misunderstood is that only about 0.5% of the people that contact polio actually become paralyzed. But when we talk about the number of cases that we're seeing in a year, we're always talking about the number of people that are paralyzed. So the number is actually much higher than what we're usually talking about, right? It's very, very similar to what we just went through with COVID, where a lot of people are silent carriers, are not even aware of it. They develop flu-like symptoms, or maybe it's something a lot like food poisoning. But of those 0.5% that develop muscle weakness, about 2 to 5% of the children and about 15 to 30% of adults will die. So it's a really serious disease. Rotary's been involved with polio eradication for a long, long time. The very first major project was in 1979 when a gentleman that was the RI president by the name of James Bomar went to the Philippines and did 6 million immunizations there. That was the very first major project. A few years later, we launched Polio Plus in 1985. And since 1985, we have had the mission of eradicating polio from the entire world. At the time in 1985, when Polio Plus was launched, polio crippled 1,000 kids a day, every day. So far this year to date, there's been 2. One in Afghanistan, one in Pakistan, and both of those were in January. So that's the effect that we made. And when we say we're this close, I mean, we are really, really this close. Even last year, at this time last year, there were about 45. So the number is falling precipitously, and it's getting better all the time. Now we got to talk about the money. So our district raises a lot of money for polio. Our goal this year is $300,000. The majority of that comes from Rotarians and clubs. There is a little bit of district money in there too, but that still comes from Rotarians and clubs ultimately, right? So sitting here this year today, we're at about 285. There was a golf tournament last weekend, so that's about another 10. So we're in good shape to make our goal for this year. I haven't heard what our goal is yet for next year, but I'm pretty confident it won't be less. But anyway, so we do a great job. Our district is one of the leaders of all the districts in the zone when it comes to supporting polio, and I'm really proud of that. Part of that is what you hear us talk about, eradicator clubs, or as Ron rebranded them this year, they're now called the William T. Sargent Eradicator Clubs. And to be an eradicator club, a club has to have an average per capita giving to Polio Plus of $50 per member. And there are a number of ways to do that. You can just do direct donations. Sometimes the clubs cover it as part of dues. Sometimes people use Rotary Direct. That's how I do it. But there's also a couple of fundraisers that we do that allow people to get individual credit and club credit towards becoming an eradicator club. So events that we have planned for this year, I'm really excited because we pretty much had to cancel everything last year due to COVID. But I have been in contact with the Tennessee Smokies, and we have an agreement to do Pack the Park again this year. They're not ready to commit to a date yet because they're in a huge transition and trying to get ready to going back at live, and they themselves weren't sure what they could do in the stadium. But I'll be talking to them this week. That usually happens at the end of July or early August, so that'll be our first major event. The next one is World Polio Day, which is on October 24th every year. And who knows why World Polio Day is on October 24th? Anybody? See, this is something you get a chance to learn something, Beth. See, listen to this. We're teaching up here. So October 24th is Jonas Salk's birthday. And so every year, October 24th is World Polio Day. Now, who's Jonas Salk? Oh, come on. Yeah, he invented he was the one that invented the very first polio vaccine, the injectable kind of polio vaccine like we use in the United States, not the oral drops that we use throughout the rest of the world. But anyway, so the biggest event that we do at a district level for World Polio Day is Purple Pinkies, of course. That's our partnership with Dunkin' Donuts. And I have been in contact with Dunkin' Donuts, and now you're going to hear something Cindy doesn't know. Purple Pinky Day in Tennessee and Mississippi will be on Wednesday, October 20th. We're also going to continue to our partnership with Alabama. They're going to be on the Monday of that week. It's gotten so big now that we've outstripped the capacity of the bakery. And so we have to have it on 2 different days. So Alabama will be on Monday And in Tennessee and Mississippi will be on Wednesday of that week. And we're going to try real hard to avoid any confusion with that. But Purple Pinky Day is a great event. It raises, our goal this year will be to raise $1.5 million. Last year we did 1.3. That doesn't seem like a big jump, but there's a little bit of a difference in the math, the way that RI matches the DDF, and we'll get into that another time. But we're going to get slightly less matching than what we had, more like what we had the first year. But what we do is a box of donuts will be $20 for a box of 10 donuts. We encourage Rotarians to buy them. You do get credit towards your Eradicator Club goals and towards your individual giving. So you'll get Paul Harris credit for that. But you know, this is more than just raising money for polio. It's an excellent opportunity to raise awareness about Rotary, about polio, and to get your members engaged. I mean, engagement is key to retention, right, Shelley? I saw you back there somewhere. But she's not listening. But yeah, so engagement is key to retention, and retention is key to growth, right? So it's really, really important that we all participate in that one to the extent that you can. We're looking to sell 100,000 donuts or something, I guess, this year. So that's, anyway, that's going to be a huge thing. Let's see. The next one after that will be Pack the Rink, which I guess we'll be doing with the Ice Bears. Again, it's really too early to even talk to them, but we had to cancel that. But we usually do that at the end of January or early February. And then after that is World Immunization Week, which is largely a online campaign. We really kind of picked that up for the first time this year. And it was done primarily on social media and that sort of thing. We tried to intentionally stay a little bit away from COVID because it was kind of political, but we're trying to just encourage people's awareness about immunization in general. So that is the last week of April. And then we do the district golf tournament, which used to be held right in conjunction with the district conference. But lately it seems like it's moving up a little bit. Oh, we'll be back onto it. Okay, now this year they moved it all the way. It was a week ago Friday, right? So it moved up a little bit earlier. But so anyway, I guess that'll be in June then, right? Is it going to be in May? Okay, so it'll be in May. But really, that's pretty much all I had. If you have any other questions about what's going on in polio, let me know. I'll be around. And thank you for your support. Who's next? Let's turn this off. Mute this one. Here comes Shelley. Dun, dun, dun. All right.
I got here a little bit late, and we had Beth, and then we had Debbie, and then we have John, and now you have me. It is so good to see y'all, though.
Oh, that's what. Go ahead.
I got to carry both of them. Can I stick it in my back pocket?
Ask.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. Can they hear me around the world?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Shelley Christian, and I'm going to be your district membership chair. So while you're going to be hearing from me, we are trying to do things a little bit different. We all know that membership, I would not say we're in a crisis, but we are at a turning point, I think, and we're going to have to do some changes. And our clubs are going to have to make some changes. So, Ms. Deb, if you will move on to our next, I'll just wave. How's that from now on, Deb? That work? This is our membership committee members. So you'll probably have to keep clicking. Deb, I think I had it set up on a slide. Naomi Asher, Alan Clark, Randy Corlew, Deb Birdsall, Deb's in the back, Andrea Lundeen, Donna Fair, Greg Missiolik, Jim Roxlow, Ivan Jones, and I'm still looking for a couple. Normally we have 4 or 5 on the membership committee. We have actually added to that. The plan is to make, for your clubs, to make us a little bit more accountable.
We should be contacting you. So these new members on the membership committee have adopted several clubs, 5 or 6 clubs each in some areas, and they're going to be calling and checking on your club. We also need to know who your membership chair is. And if you will email me, and I can send out an email to say, just respond to it. And if you don't email me who your membership chair is, and we have good contact information, then when we send out something for membership and are asking questions about what you're doing for membership and what your plan is, you're the one who's going to be getting those phone calls and those emails, okay? We really want to work with your membership chair. That being said, I'm sure you probably all have your membership chairs chosen. And I will tell you, like I laughingly told our membership committee, we need more Tiggers and less Eeyores, okay? We need more excitement. We need more bounce. We definitely don't need monotone, oh, I'm here about membership. Okay, so look for that person and make sure it is the right person. Read the emails. Go ahead. Yeah, I started saying it's got a second part. I promise you, we keep it short. Okay, the emails are super short. Did anybody get the last email on the membership May challenge? Okay, so this membership May challenge basically said, and I want all of y'all to do it right now. Think about what you love about Rotary. What you love about your Rotary Club. Does that bring a smile to your face of what you love about your Rotary Club? Okay, go tell someone that. That's our member May challenge. Go tell 5 people what you love about Rotary, or what you love about your Rotary Club, what you love about your favorite service project, and then ask your members to do the same. 5 people. Then ask them to come join you. Please don't tell them we have 1.2 million members worldwide. We do service projects. Okay? Tell them we have this service project. What's your favorite service project, Miss Bonnie? Honduras Water Project. And you're providing clean water in Honduras for people who could contract diseases, babies die because of bad, I mean, that's an awesome project. When you talk about it, you probably get really excited. That's what we want when you're talking to potential members. Okay, we want that passion that you have to come through. Y'all saw this at Pets, I know. If you have not watched that 15-minute video lately, of Sheikh Armentas telling you what his plan is. Watch it again. That is the most inspirational speaker and man I have ever seen. And it's because he is so humble and he is so in love with Rotary and what Rotary can do. Watch it again. Have your members watch it. If they're not inspired by the time they finish watching that, they're probably asleep or dead. Okay, so he has a plan. In our next slide, we have his plan. It's an outline of a plan. Each member's going to bring one. We're going to come back to this in our membership stuff later, but basically, go around and hold your members accountable. We talked about accountability is going to be the key word in our membership this year. Holding your membership committee accountable, holding your members accountable. Ask your members to make a list of 1 or 2 people they will bring. You keep that list. Or have your membership chair keep that list. He says, do more, grow more. Now, a lot of our Rotary clubs are super, super, super active. So I'm not so sure that we need to do more to grow more. I'm thinking there's some of us who probably do. We might need to add a service project or 2, but I'm thinking too that what we may need to do is promote more. You know, we've said for years, Rotary is the worst one at telling our own story. Let's try and do a better job of it. Talk about the Honduras Water Project. Talk about going out to the schools and painting. Talk about a book project that you do, a clean up the river project. Promote it. Do radio spots. They'll give it to you for free. Do whatever you can to promote it and make Rotary seen. The more you do, the more you're going to grow. The more you grow, the more you do. You're going to have access to other resources. You're going to have more volunteers. You're going to have more ideas. You're going to have more money. Okay? It makes it easy to do projects with more money. Serve to Change Lives. Again, if y'all have not watched his video, watch it again. When we change a life, guys, we don't know what the ramifications of that are. We may change one life today, but that one person may change hundreds of lives or millions of lives down the road. We make a difference. Rotary Days of Service, plan with your other Rotary clubs in your area. Get together, again, really, really, really promote those projects. I think we got one more, Deb. Then he wanted to be sure we have diversity, equity, and inclusion, okay? And we'll be sending more information each month to explain and offer ideas. Sometimes we do go ahead and send it to the presidents. We always send it to those membership chairs, okay? I know you get bombarded with emails. That's why we really try and keep it short. If there's additional information needed, we usually attach it in a Word document or something like that to make it easier for you, okay? Some things are going to be different. So we talk about accountability. Y'all can tell I'm really key on that this year. And if you don't think we're doing our job, you let us know, okay? Membership mentors, we will send out an email explaining who your membership mentor is, and they will be contacting you. And they are all, I will have to say this, they are all very excited about membership. They all love Rotary, and they don't care to go tell people, okay? Presentation of plans. We want to know what your membership plans are. What do you plan to do about membership? We want to know what those plans are and what our committee can do to help, if anything, okay? Again, more direct help from your membership committee. And the emails, we try to give specific ideas. How many of y'all feel like sometimes in Rotary, when they send out something, it's just very general, but it's not really, I can't use that, right? So earlier this year, I sent out a letter that says, here's a letter you can use for a potential member that asks their business to pay for Rotary. What Rotary helps, why it's important in the community, why it would be beneficial to that business to have a Rotarian in your club, okay? And one of their employees in your club. Things like that, we're trying to be very specific. If there's something you think we might have or need, call me, let me know, email me, text me. I'm pretty good. Y'all have any questions? Am I ahead of time? Am I behind time? Am I on time? Yes, but we also have membership mentors that will be a little more immediate sometimes, because it's hard for me. I live in Cookeville, so sometimes it's hard for me to get up to Morristown, but we have someone helping cover Morristown. We do have a membership presentation. We're all going to be giving the same information. It may just be everybody's got their own personality and how it's given out. Yes, ma'am? We'll be sending out an email.
Repeat the questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. The question was, how do you find out who your membership mentor is? We'll be sending out an email shortly. I'm still looking for membership mentors in Lebanon, Mount Juliet area, Lafayette and Hartsville, and Kingston area, I believe. I think those are the three that we're lacking. So if anyone has suggestions on those areas, please send them to me. But we have membership mentors for all the rest of the areas, and I'll get those to you before July 1, okay? Anyone else have any other questions? Beth says I have more time. So y'all have to ask questions now. Okay, so the question was, are the membership mentors from the club? Not necessarily, but like Deb Birdsall in the back. Do y'all know Deb? Everybody wave at Deb. Deb is in the Fairfield Glade Club. So she is covering Fairfield Glade along with the other Crossville clubs. Okay, Deb, did you get Jamestown or was that mine?
I don't, but I can do Kingston for you.
Oh, okay. So Deb's probably going to do Kingston. And he says I have to step back. I don't stand still very well. So like Deb will be, so yes, it could be that the membership mentor is in your club. It could be that they're in a club next door. Again, and we'll still be sending out emails with specific ideas and things. And if y'all want the letter, I'll be glad to send it out. I actually asked Rotary if they had a letter and they told me no. They have one, they did one for corporate membership. So I just plagiarized a lot of their information and changed it specifically for a club. Yes?
Tell us about your Toastmasters
Okay, so we really think, and I think a lot of y'all would agree with this, especially younger members coming up, they want instant gratification for something. Y'all kind of see that? They want to see something immediately. You know, I was in Rotary for 3 or 4 years before anyone ever asked me to do something. You know, you got new members coming in, if they're not asked to do something in the first 6 months, they're probably going to be gone. So they want something instantaneous from it. Rotary and Toastmasters formed an alliance in January or February of 2020. And we have used that to actually create a Rotary Toastmasters Club. And you do have to be a member of Rotary and of Toastmasters. We're still working on the satellite portion of it. And now I can see Neil there, so I'll scoot back. But we have members from all over the state that have joined this Toastmasters Club. We're doing it in person in Cookeville at the Biz Foundry as well as via Zoom. And for young people in today's world, where so much of their meetings, so many of their meetings are in Zoom, so much of it is video conference, it has been excellent experience for them. How to give a presentation, how to do a PowerPoint presentation via Zoom. It is amazing to me to watch these young people develop as speakers month to month. We had one gentleman who come up, and the first time he spoke about anything, it was like an evaluation, and he had 3 minutes. I think we quit counting his ahs and ums at about 8, and that was just to be nice. 2 months later, 3 months later, it rolls around and he gives a presentation. There was not a single nothing. Toastmasters does have some programs that they have specifically designed on the Rotary Learning Center. Okay, so you don't have to form a Toastmasters Club, but if you have young individuals who want to improve on their public speaking or work on leadership skills, if y'all have not accessed the Learning Center on Rotary, I'd highly suggest you do. And Toastmasters has 4 or 5 programs that they have put on there that are excellent. Rotary has some excellent programs on there as well. Any other questions?
It's for us old people too, not just young.
This is true. We have, well, you know what I tell everybody? We started with focusing on young professionals. It has been amazing. We have, and Deb can probably help me on this a little bit, from like mid-20s to 71 or 72. But I will say this, every one of our members is young at heart. They're wanting to learn something new. They're wanting to improve. And some of these have actually had been in Toastmasters before. We have one in our club who is in our Rotary Club, and then he's also in Toastmasters. So I say that you have somebody who really wants to look at joining a Toastmasters Club, but there's not one in your area, but they're in your Rotary Club, okay? They can actually join just the Toastmasters section of our club and do it via Zoom. So I always laugh and say we keep 2 sets of books. One for Rotary, for members who are joining our satellite club, soon to be satellite club, and one for who are in Toastmasters. So we have like 21, hopefully soon to be 22 Toastmaster members, but we only have maybe 10 that are going to be in the satellite club. Okay, so if Norm said I wanted to look at this Toastmasters, he could join, and we only meet twice a month, the 2nd and 4th Monday nights. So it does create a little better extra time allowance, and we do a service project once a quarter. So how do you do a service project if you're spread out all over the state and then some? Right now we're picking up trash. We ask everybody as they're getting outside, as they're walking their dog, as they go out every day, to pick up at least 3 pieces of trash. Whoever picks up the most trash gets to pick the next service project for the next quarter. And we're having fun. These icebreaker speeches that they give to tell you about who they are, I've spent more time laughing in these meetings than I have ever spent laughing at Rotary. They are fantastic, and we're all having a good time, and that's what it's about. So if you have a young professional and you think they're looking for leadership and public speaking, send them to us. We're not going to steal your Rotary member. We're going to help make them a Toastmaster, though. Okay? Any other questions and any volunteers for our membership committee? I am more than happy. Okay. All right. I think I'm done for now. do we turn this thing off?
Am I up?
Yeah, just a second. Rachel, do you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, Rachel is our youth services chair. Give us a woo-hoo.
Woohoo!
All right. So she's out of Cookville Breakfast and she's a nut, but go ahead. Go ahead, Rachel.
Excellent. Okay, can I share my screen? Do I have permission to do that?
Just a second. Okay.
Okay, can you guys see that? Excellent. Okay. Well, I have the best job in the district, in my opinion, and that is working with clubs who want to work with youth. And I think all of us should. Every club should be very active with youth because they are our future. They are our future members. They are the future of Rotary. So this year, and actually the past couple of years, you will see that youth services focuses on 3 big areas that are sponsored Rotary internationally and by our district, and that is the Interact program, Rotary Youth Exchange program, and RILA, the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. But I want to start out to say that there are a lot of ways that clubs can be active with youth service, even if they are not active in these 3 areas. However, we would like you, if you're not already active in these 3 areas, to really consider this coming year being the year that you start getting active in these 3 areas. But we definitely want to encourage all of our clubs to do service projects with youth in your communities from all ages. And there's a lot of ways that can be done. And I know a lot of your clubs are already doing things like that through different community service projects. But I did want to highlight a few things to you guys about Interact, Youth Exchange, and RILA. First, let's talk about Interact. So Interact is not just high school students. Interact is a clubs for youth, and it can be from ages 12 to 18. And so that could be a middle school or junior high type club. I know there's a lot of K-8 schools out there, so that could even include some of the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th graders of those K-8 schools. It definitely includes high school age kids. And it doesn't even have to be tied to a specific high school. We have had a couple clubs started in our district that are for homeschooler groups or just for community-based groups, you know, from kids that it might be better to have in your community rather than tied to a specific school, be a group, an Interact club that could be for, you know, in the community that could draw kids in from multiple schools. But the key thing about an Interact club is that it has to be sponsored by a Rotary club. And so I hope that all of your clubs have been thinking, if you're not already sponsoring an Interact club, that you're thinking about what schools or areas or programs in your, or kids in your area, whether they could form an Interact club. And the key thing would be to identify a school or an area or a group like a homeschooling group and start talking to that institution to see if they would be interested. The best thing to do is to have a teacher or somebody that is working regularly with these kids to be an advisor of their club. They don't have to be a member of your Rotary club, but that would be a good membership goal, is to have them be a member of your club. And then just have a brainstorming session with them about what that Interact club would look like. In our district, we have at least 62 clubs in our district. I mean, that's a lot of clubs in our district. We are one of the biggest Rotary districts in the world to have, or one of the strongest Interact programs in the world. We have an amazing conference every year. This year it was virtual, but I'm pretty sure that they're planning on doing it in person again next year. It's usually the first weekend of March in Pigeon Forge. Bruce Wilson has been our chair the last few years. He's from the Pigeon Forge Rotary Club. That's his email right there. He is the man to contact. If you have questions about starting an Interact club, go ahead and reach out to Bruce and talk to him about what your steps should be to start an Interact Club. I also want to point out that once you start an Interact Club, there are some scholarships that the district sponsors to award to Interact recipients. We have the James Bomar Interact Scholarship that is named after one of our past district governors. And he was a Rotary International president. Am I correct on that? I think I am. So, but that is a foundation that the district has, and we encourage clubs to donate to that foundation, the James Bomar Interact Scholarship Foundation, so that we can award scholarship recipients to outstanding interactors every year. There's also the Fred Brown Interact Award of Merit. And so that information, both the information about conferences and scholarships is available on our Rotary District 6780 website. Right now it has mostly this past year's information. So hopefully, you know, in the coming months, we will have information about next year's conference, and that will hopefully be in March of 22, and definitely the Interact scholarships. To give you a timeline, the Interact scholarships usually, so if your club has an Interact student, you can nominate a student from that Interact club for the scholarship. And that paperwork is usually due at the end of January, early February. RILA, I want to talk about RILA. Now, different districts do RILA in different ways. Some districts don't have RILA. We are fortunate that we do have an amazing RILA program. Our program is a one-day leadership day where the kids are sponsored by Rotary clubs and transported by their Rotary clubs who are sponsoring them to a camp in Crossville or Cumberland County. It's actually outside of Crossville in Mayland, Tennessee. And it is Camp Nakanoa. And it's an amazing campground where the kids, we bring in folks from outside to do leadership, team building exercise. They have a zip line. You see a picture there of that. They really work well. They learn to work well together. They also hear from different speakers. It's a long day. The kids usually need to get there by 7:30 a.m. Central Time, and they're not done until 5:30 p.m. And I find that when I take kids to RILA in the morning, I mean, the kids are mostly asleep when I'm driving them over there. But then when I'm bringing them home, they are talking a mile a minute. They are excited about the day. They've met kids from all over our district. When we have exchange students, we usually have the exchange students there. And so they usually meet them. And a lot of these kids have connected and stay connected after this one-day event. And it's just an amazing experience. We were not able to do it this past year, but good news, we've got it set for this year, and it's going to be Saturday, September 25th. The registration fee is a little higher than maybe some people may remember in the past. It is going to be $150 this year. And that's if the registration information is received by September 1st. Otherwise, there is going to be a $25 increase. Now, the forms are already available, and there is great information on the district website if you as a club president can select somebody to be your RILA coordinator, they can go on the website and they can go ahead and get the club information, and it has a great coordinator's guide, and it has all the information there for how to help you select a recipients from your high schools. And this is for juniors in high school. I didn't mention that. Now that is a little bit flexible, and because we didn't have RILA this past year, I know that the RILA committee is open to having, you know, seniors who didn't get a chance to go their junior year to go. And so, but if you have leaders in your school, and they don't have to be an Interact member, they can be any high school juniors or, you know, young adults who you feel like would benefit from this leadership program. So it's good to go ahead and reach out to the schools as soon as school starts and start getting the forms to the students that you would like to select, or trying to get applications filled out. Different clubs do it in a different way. Sometimes clubs really rely on the counselors at the schools to make recommendations for who to go, but then sometimes clubs do an interview process or an application process. But there are registration forms that the students have to fill out, as well as their parents need to fill out. But I do want to mention that the RILA is trying to limit their numbers this year to 180 students. So they are trying to go ahead, the committee wants to go ahead and get information from clubs to get an estimate of how many, or they say it's a commitment, but I don't think they're really going to be too hard on that. But they really want clubs to be thinking now about how many students they want to send to RILA in September so that they can start doing their planning. And so they would like that form, and that form is available on the website. It's a commitment form to be sent in by the end of this month. So if you can go to the website, check that out, assign a RILA coordinator, look at the forms, and go ahead and turn that in. Now, as far as the forms, once the forms are finally completed and you're going to turn them in by September 1st, they are mailed with your payment to RILA. They have a PO box now. Holly Hansen is our chair this year, and she is from the Crossville Club. They have a Gmail account, so RILA6780 or tn@gmail.com is the way if you have any questions, but you can also look at the website for a lot of good information. Youth Exchange, a lot of you may know that that's kind of my baby. I was involved a lot in Rotary Youth Exchange since about 2006, and I was the chair for quite a few years. I'm still on the committee. Sadly, this past year and this coming year, we're not able to have inbound or outbound exchange students, which we had to break kids' hearts, 2 years in a row, because we had a great lineup of kids that were supposed to be out right now coming back from their year and weren't able to do that. And then we had another great group of kids that we selected this year to go out next year. But unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we just weren't, the Rotary International did cancel the 21-22 year as well. But we're still busy because we are still gearing up for next year, 22-23. And you see some names here. Our general chair is Frank Hughes from the Chattanooga Club. Our outbound chair is Bill Nichols. And outbound chair means working with the students, our Tennessee students who want to go outbound for a whole school year on the Rotary Youth Exchange program. I do have some long-term, that's what the whole year-long costs and information there. But Bill Nichols from Farragut, he is the man. I mean, he is sending emails. He was sending emails yesterday to potential outbound students, because the process for applying for outbound starts now. I mean, you got to be interested in going. You've got to get your paperwork together. You got to talk to your counselors at the high school to see if it's all going to work out. And you file your application this coming November. So if your club wants to be a sponsoring club for an outbound student, you need to be starting to talk to students that are between ages 15 and 18. They have to be at least under 18 and a half by the time that they go. So that means by August 1st of, well, they really can't turn 8. If they turn 18 before February 1st of their senior year, they're probably going to be too late to go out, because they will be over 18 and a half when they go out in 22. But check with Bill if you have any questions about that. And then McKinley Tabor from Crossville, he is our inbound chair. We won't have any inbound students this coming year, but we are going to be looking for clubs who want to commit to hosting in the 22-23 school year. Because if your club is interested in hosting, you're going to need to next year by this time have all of that lined up. You're going to have the host families already lined up. You're going to have a counselor assigned to the student that you're going to be hosting for that next year lined up. So that's why during your year as president, it will be an important planning year if you guys want to host a student in 22-23. Short term is more of a family to family type of exchange. It's still a student that would go between the ages of 15 and 18, but instead of going for a whole school year, they would go either in the summer or the winter, and they would go for about a month, and they would stay with a family that has a child of their same age. And then that child ends up coming back and spending time with your family. And so John Cheney from the Mount Juliet Club, he is the chairperson for the short-term program. Now, I don't know if we're going to be able to have exchanges next year. I think the answer is, well, I know we can't for this summer. I think we're not going to be able to for summer of 22, but I'm hoping that we might be able to, or at least starting maybe in July of 22. Now, you may notice that on both of the past couple of slides, I've mentioned some fees, some application fees for the long-term and the short-term program. Those are fees that not for your club to pay, but for the actual student and their family to pay. Now, we have had wonderful clubs who have offered scholarships and have even done some district grants. Shout out to the Knoxville area clubs who have been doing some grants and have been sponsoring outbound students, and the clubs have been incurring those costs. But for the most part, the fees for youth exchange for these outbound programs are incurred by the families. Now inbound, if you do host somebody in 22-23, those fees for hosting an inbound, once they get to your club, your host families will be in charge of feeding them and making sure that they get to school and then have any school costs paid and things like that. But I could talk about youth exchange all day long, but I better not because you guys have other things going on. I'm going to stop sharing, and I've just rattled on for a long time. So does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? Yeah, go ahead. Can you hear me, Rachel? I
can.
Okay, what's your question? We had wait a minute. Wait.
In one of my other clubs, we had a youth exchange student who was in a pretty serious car wreck going to a high school football game. Is there any insurance for these kids when it happens?
Yes, good, very good question. Rotary International requires, and the State Department of State with our inbound, who monitors all inbound programs, not just Rotary, requires that our inbound exchange students have to have liability coverage, health insurance coverage. We provide them a policy. They pay for it, but we provide a uniform policy that all of our inbound students have. Now, our outbound students are also required to have policies. Their different countries dictate some of that information, and so it may vary based on which country they're going to as far as how much and the type of policy. But everybody has to have health insurance and full coverage liability insurance.
Okay, well, we were lucky because we had the president of the local hospital in our club that saved us.
Good. We gotta move on. Yes, we've had kids unfortunately have arms broken, ACLs torn, like all kinds of things, you know, than the typical flu and problems like that. But the insurance is usually pretty good. But yes, they all have to have health insurance. But thank you. I know my time is up. So I just want to say youth service, youth service, youth service. Woo!
Oh, whoever's sharing. Oh, hey, everybody. I'm Rob Dansero. I am Area 4 Assistant Governor for District 6780 and a member of the Volunteer Club in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I was asked today to come in and talk about how we coordinate our clubs and what that looks like. So some of you president-elects, most of the folks in this room, you may know what your assistant governor is. I want to talk about what their role is for just a moment. The role of the assistant governor is to work with multiple clubs in a geographic region and be the line between those clubs and the district. So that's what we do. So we come in, we're your support person, and we help you get together and work together as clubs. So one of the things that's interesting is it gives us a lot of opportunities, because if we think about the ability to leverage multiple clubs to come together to make a difference in a community. So in Knoxville, for example, we have 7 clubs now. We had 6 for a long time. We have a satellite club that started. Have a great partner in the Area 3 Assistant Governor, Janice Mitchell coming in, Dan Hipsher going out. One of the things that we do is we get together on a monthly basis and we have area meetings. And we do that with both of our areas together because we're all in the Knoxville area. A lot of you will be in a geographic area where your assistant governor will have anywhere from 2 to 5 clubs typically. And you can come together on a monthly basis. And what is that for? Well, number one, we're talking about how we make a bigger splash or a bigger difference in the community. I heard earlier in the membership engagement, we're talking about money, right? So a little bit of money from one club will go a certain distance, but a little bit of money from 3 or 4 clubs will allow you to have a much bigger impact. So what do those monthly meetings look like? Well, we've been meeting via Zoom on a regular basis. We have an agenda. We have a set time every single month that we come together. Before COVID, we met in person in a conference room, and we would sit down and we would talk about group projects, kind of what we could do. So some of the things that we've done in the Knoxville area together include Flu Shot Saturday. So we coordinate amongst the 6 clubs to go into the high schools and give free flu shots to everybody in the community. You heard Rachel talk about Rotary Youth Exchange and talking about multi-club grants and what that looks like. So we come in on an annual basis and each of the clubs donates a portion of the money and we sponsor an outbound youth exchanger. So it makes a big difference in terms of being able to get someone who may not economically be able to afford to go abroad and get them that experience so that we can change their lives and the lives of their families and the kids that they come in contact with when they come back. So those are a couple of the things that we do. We just did World Rotary Day in Knoxville. So wait, that was in February, right? Oh, well, we got rained out a few times, okay? But we came together and looked at a school each year that needs some things done to it. We all donate money, the different clubs, and we clean up that school and we make it, we do things for them they couldn't do by themselves or that one club couldn't necessarily afford to do. So it's coordination. The Heart to Heart, 100 and 100. Our 6 clubs, we wrote multi-club grants in order to do 2 large water projects in Mexico, which we've worked on this year. And then, you know, in terms of other opportunities, one of the things that we like to do is we share what our clubs are doing. So think about it. If your club operates in a silo and you're doing whatever it is that your club is good at doing, or you love to do, whatever your best service project is, Bonnie, well, that's great. But hold on, we could figure out some places where we need additional people power, or we've identified a potential grant or program or project that our club doesn't have the capacity to do, but we as multiple clubs have the capacity to do, or one of our other clubs is looking for a district grant for that year of what might be something that would interest them outside of what they might have thought about. So a couple other things. Membership. Membership's really important. When we think about Rotary clubs, are we really in competition with each other as Rotarians? No, we're not. We all have the same goals. Everybody's like, well, we've got this pressure to grow our membership. Well, yes, you do. In Knoxville, we have a club that meets every weekday. You may not be available to join my club that meets on Friday at noon, or the Bearden Club also meets at Friday at noon, but you might be able to go to the downtown Knoxville Club, which meets on Tuesday at noon. So why would we not work together to get those members into clubs that they can actually attend and participate in? The other thing is clubs are culturally different, okay? They're not the same. And so what that means is that I might not be the right fit for your club. You might not be the right fit for the club that I'm in. But if we can find you that place, then you're going to grow Rotary. You're going to do things for your community that are going to help benefit. So one of the other things I kind of want to talk about is through coordination, we can grow Rotary. We can also, we have something called an annual report in Rotary. And you are all going to know what this is, you president-elects coming in, because you're going to be expected to put one together. Your president is putting one together outbound in coordination with their board. So if you work together as an area, you can coordinate those annual reports to show the greater impact to the community. Because it's one thing to show what one Rotary club does in a geographic area. It's a completely different thing to show what 6 clubs in an area might do. So think about it like this. In the Knoxville area, we give hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in time, treasure, and talent to the Knoxville school system, the Knox County school system. If we walk in the room and we've given $300,000 to the school system in the last year, we automatically get a seat at the table and they listen to us. So it breaks down barriers to be able to get the meetings that you might like to get to further the projects that you're working on. So this is why we come together as groups of clubs with our area assistant governors in order to make a bigger splash and a bigger difference in our community. So I'd be glad to answer any questions if anybody has any, or we can move on to Ron Apoon. All right, well, thank you.
Hey, Ron, you ready?
I am ready. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Let me get you spotlighted, okay? You have slides?
No slides. No slides. Are we ready to go?
Yes.
All right, great. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. And I want to thank our incoming presidents and our incoming district leadership team. Thank you for supporting Rotary. I know that District Governor-elect Cindy and Rotary International President-elect Shekar certainly welcome your leadership and working together as we all serve to change lives. Now, I know that we're running a little bit behind and I'm the last person between you and a break. So this is going to be really, really fast. So at our April 24th business meeting, we adopted revised and updated rules of procedure for our district and also adopted a new youth protection policy. You know, some of these things were originally developed many, many years ago, and there's been lots of changes in Rotary. And so it was time for us to upgrade everything. So we have 2 new sections in the rules of procedure. One of them is called Section 9 harassment, and one is called youth protection. These new sections outline basic policies in district organizations for us to be able to handle complaints, to train clubs and district Rotarians with a special focus on those who are involved in youth programs, including Youth Exchange, RILA, and Interact, which you heard about just recently. You know, in addition to this, we did adopt a new youth protection policy. I believe District Governor-elect Cindy provided you a copy of that today or yesterday. And we will be providing extensive resource materials on our website that will help detail Rotary International policies and procedures to help in following and handling complaints. Now, all these changes are designed to strengthen our current policies and procedures and make considerable additional information available on our district website. You know, Rotary has a lot of good best practices things, and we want to take advantages of those resources that they have for us. Now, to help make this happen, we have what's called a District Harassment and Abuse Prevention Committee. And that committee consists of 5 specified membership things that are in the rules of procedure. Your immediate past district governor is the automatic chair of that committee, which means I'm going to be the new chair. And in the next couple of weeks, District Governor-elect Cindy will be naming those committee members, and we're going to be starting immediately on our work. Because one of the things that we need to do, obviously, is we have to find out where we are and where we need to be. And so we'll be asking for a lot of input from our members. We have gotten some when we had our district meeting last month, and we're looking forward to helping everyone. You know, there are a lot of things that we need to do to protect ourselves, to protect our members, to, you know, to make sure that we are doing the right thing. You know, Rotarians are good about ethics, and so we want to make sure we are doing things the right way. So we'll, you know, this is going to be a process that's going to take a little bit of time, okay? And so it's important for us to do it right, to get the information to you so that you are providing information to your clubs, to your members, so that we have the proper procedures in place. You know, we have one of the things I want to emphasize that we talked about back on April 24th is when we talk about harassment prevention, it's not just sexual harassment. There are cases where sometimes there's just been adult harassment, so to speak, and that's part of the policy changes that are covered as well. So I think District Governor-elect Cindy, that's all I'm going to say unless you want me to add something to it.
Thank you, Governor Ron. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay. Ron told me that I had him scheduled for the break, and I told him that we were going to break while he was talking, but I was just kidding, Governor. We're all still here, so we appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we do have a break. I'm going to shorten it about 8 minutes. I think it may be about 9:41, 9:30. So what time is it? 9:36, 38, 37. So 9:45 Central Time. Is that okay if we come back in about 8 minutes or so? Zoomers, if y'all need to take a break, we'll be back at 9:45. And if you were going to get your headshot taken today, was anybody wanting to do that today? Okay, we will do it at the end so that you don't miss your break, okay? Thank you. Yes, that's what I gave you, that jump drive. Do I need to go get it?
started, I'll put up the slides.
Okay. Thank you.
And here's a clicker.
Thank you very much.
You know, I don't understand. Deb plugged in just like I plugged in. Hers worked and mine didn't.
That doesn't make sense at all. Like, that's crazy.
This is me off.
If everyone will start moving back towards your seats, we will get started. sorry. Yes, just, and when everybody gets back. Okay, so we can get everybody. All right, we are going to get started in 30 seconds because we're late, which is okay. We'll tell them to smile. I need somebody to. You want to take it from? Yeah. They're not all on there yet. If you, all of those on Zoom, if you are back, if you will put your picture on for just a minute, we want to take a picture of everyone. That's when you left-handed, you do it to the right side. Ron's hiding back. It's going backwards. All right, Zoomers, if y'all will give us a big smile, we're going to take a picture. Okay, then everybody here smile. If he can get all of us. All right, public image, you know. I learned public image. Leave it on, for just a minute, leave it on speaker because I want to introduce the AGs and some of them are on there. Okay, we're going to get started and I know we're late, but I have a habit of talking fast, so I'll catch us up and I'll probably finish quickly because I talk too fast. Everybody that presented this morning, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I hope that you all got some good information. Please know that these people are here to help. Reach out to them. You can get their information off of DAC-DB and you will be able to touch base with them. They come, they present. Shelley mentioned it, all of her membership committee. Anybody on any of the committees would love to come present to you, so just reach out to them. Reach out to me and I'll let you know how to get in touch with them. All right, before we get started, I want you all to get to see our AGs, and so I'm not sure the best way to do this because I don't have my glasses on. We'll start with the AGs on Zoom. And if all of the AGs will just unmute yourself, if you're still on here, and just introduce yourself and tell us who's, what area you are. Barry Doss, are you still on? I don't think he is. He was at a meeting. David Sargent, are you still on?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. David Sargent, Area 9. And my clubs are Chattanooga Hamilton Place, and the Breakfast Club, South Pittsburgh, and hopefully the Nooga Night someday soon.
All right. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Debbie Farmer.
Hi, everybody. Debbie Farmer, Area 1. My clubs are Clinton, the 3 Oak Ridge clubs, and my club, South Campbell County.
Do I have any other AGs on Zoom? I don't think I do. I just want to make sure. Okay. So let's introduce the ones here. I don't know how. I guess I'll come to you so that they can hear you. So, Amy.
Hi there. I'm Amy Rudder. I'm Area 12. I have the Winchester New Club, Franklin County AM, Roman County, and One Eagle Swan.
Trying to get unhooked so I can, thank you. Where are we? Dan, I want to go to you always. So Rob, they've met you, but I'll let you do it again.
Hey everybody, Rob Dansrow again, Area 4 Assistant Governor. I have the Downtown Knoxville Club, the Knoxville Volunteer Club, and the North Knoxville Club. Thanks.
Thank you. Going in circles. Our AG coordinator. I'm not gonna let you get your water, am I, Norm?
Okay. Norm Fontana, and I've got District 6780 and all the other AGs. Yay. Thank you. They're great AGs.
Yay. Thank you. Ron?
Ron Randall, Area 15, and I have Maryville,
Loudon, Lenore City, and my club, Telco Lake.
Yay. Thank you. Let's see. What did Ralph miss? Oh, he's back there. So I'll get Janice first. And then, there you go.
I'm Janice Mitchell. I'm Area 3, and I have the Knoxville Breakfast, the Bearden, and the Farragut Club.
Thank you. And Al and Susie, if y'all head your way up front for just a second.
I'm Deb Birdsall, as you all know, and I am the incoming assistant governor for the 3 Crossville clubs, the Crossville Noon Club, the Crossville Breakfast Club, and the Fairfield Glade Club.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I am Ralph Best. And let's see, I have Area 2. That includes the Kingston Club, the Harriman Club, the Rockwood Club, and finally the Dayton Club, which is way down the valley from us.
Thank you, Ralph. All right, Randy.
Hi, everyone.
You got to talk about both of them.
Oh, okay. I'm Randy Randall, and I have the distinct honor of working with the 3 clubs, the Jamestown Club and my home club, Livingston. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. All right. Thank you all very much. Did I miss anybody? I don't think I did. I feel like I'm doing some kind of up and down the aisle. I don't know. Help me. I know. Price is Right. That's what I'm thinking of, where they run down the aisle to get their stuff. Okay. District Governor-elect for next year. If you and Susie, y'all come up. District Governor-elect next year is Al Clark, and I'm going to let him say a couple of things to all of our Zoomers and to all of you. You just have to stand real close to me because Greg just...
Gladly.
There you go.
Go find yourself your next PE. You PEs that are there, go find next PE because they'll be mine.
Thank you. And District Governor nominee for next year, Susie Cantrell.
Good afternoon, almost now, guys. Sorry I was delayed coming to the front. I was taking care of an issue back there. But I look forward to the next year after Al, the next year before when Cindy. And then I'm just kind of moving up. Tomorrow I will go back to 4 letters in my acronym as opposed to 3 today. So we just change hats all the time, but get excited about Rotary, and we're going to have a great 3 years ahead. So just get yourself full of compassion, and we'll put it to work when the time comes, right now.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Susie. Appreciate that. Greg, help me if I missed anybody. I don't think I have. Okay. Are y'all ready? Are you pumped and ready to go? Are you ready to start being the president of your club? Oh, yes, because I almost went to him anyway. I will introduce one of your fellow PEs who is actually an outgoing AG, Dan Hipsher. He does a fabulous job, and so he's going to round and come right back up and be a president next year. So, Dan, thank you. So we're moving to the right side of your folder now, all of the stuff on the right side, and I didn't explain the folders earlier, and I apologize for that. Those of you online, I'm Zooming, I've sent you all copies, but I think I put in the email, I have copies for you when I see you next, or when I see your AGs, I will send those to you. So we're just going to talk a little bit today about what your year's going to look like, what we're going to do. You are the change maker presidents. That's what Shaker said. We are the change makers. You're the change makers. Your clubs are the change makers, and we're going to make change in Rotary. I know this has been a difficult year. Governor Ron, I think, has done an excellent, fabulous job keeping the clubs together, keeping everything going from back when he did his pets, and in less than a week's time, I think they had to go virtual with that. And moving forward, we are hybrid now. I think a lot of clubs are meeting in person or hybrid, and I'm very hopeful that in just a few more weeks, we will all be in person for those that still want to be. The first thing I have in your club, and Greg, I need, I guess, to get back on PowerPoint. The first thing that is in your folder on my side is Be a Vibrant Club. And this is just a tool for you to use. It's just a little brochure that tells you some things, and I'm not going to go through that with you, but some things that you can do to make your club a vibrant club. I think that Shelley is going to talk a little bit about, she's not in here, is she? She mentioned visioning last night when she was with me and Beth, and I'm not sure if she's going to mention or not, but there's some, are you going to talk about visioning any, or just membership in your meeting this afternoon? You're not, are you? Nothing. Just say no. Okay, thank you. Anyway, being a vibrant club is something that you can work with your board with and your members with to if you feel like maybe you're not doing service projects that you feel like are up to par for what you want, or if there's some new things that you want to do, you need to get together with your board members and your club, sit down and talk about it, and talk about the things that you can do to make your club more appealing, and maybe do some more things for your community and globally as well. So that is in there. The next thing that is in there, and we'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to the goals for Shaker, but it is the outline of the Rotary Days of Service that I'm going to ask you to do in your clubs. And so that just outlines it briefly. It tells you what all you have to do for the Days of Service and how to do that. And I'm trying to fast forward through my... Oh, okay. We're not sharing. They're still looking at me. I'll go back. I quickly went through, while he's getting this to share, I quickly went through a couple of things that I think you might be interested in having. Under Debbie, where she talked about the foundation, some of the things, as past district governors have sent me things to possibly talk about today with you and to share with you. One of the things that I received from Greg was talking about how to recognize somebody that has become a Paul Harris Fellow in your club, because I think my personal opinion is if somebody goes to that length, then we need to recognize them. A lot of times in your club, you'll just call them up and say, they're a Paul Harris Fellow, here's your pen, thank you very much. But there are other ways to do that. And so I have put a form in your folder that tells you different ways that you can introduce them. You can talk about what a Paul Harris Fellow is, and you can let other members know. I would bet my next paycheck that there are lots of people in your clubs that don't know what a Paul Harris Fellow are, or what the Paul Harris Society is, or anything like that. And so when you recognize what they've done, that's going to get people talking and wondering, you know what, it's not in there. I just remembered that was the last minute thing. Y'all are frantically looking for it. I'm sorry. It is not in there. I'm going to send it to you. I'm sorry. I realized everybody's fumbling. I will get that to you. But this is just an idea of how you can do a ceremony and recognize those that become Paul Harris Fellows. And that's meaningful for those people because they're going the extra step. And I'm sure most of you have your members, they may pay $100 a month, $100 a quarter, however they want to do it. But once they get that level, they're proud of that. And so we need to recognize them and thank them for what they've done. The next thing that you don't have in your folder is how to install a member. How many of you, when you have a new member, you bring them up there, you give them their packet, you put their pin on, and you tell them, thank you, welcome to the club? I'll admit it, we do it at my club. That's all we do. We need to recognize them a little bit better. And there is a form that you can get. I will send it to you as well, or just come up with something with your board, or if you think of something you can do. But don't just throw a pin on them and say, welcome to the club, and then let them go sit back down and forget about them. Do some kind of nice ceremony. It doesn't have to be 5 minutes long, but just something to tell them that you're happy and glad that they're joining the club and make them feel welcome. Is my sharing not going through? Okay. Okay, and you did have the sexual harassment and the those two policies that Governor Ron talked to you about. All right, so We are the change maker governors. We are the change maker presidents. Your members are the change maker members, and we are going to change some of the things in Rotary. Now, we're not changing what Rotary is. We're going to make a change. That's what we want to do. Make a change in your club, make a change in your community, make a change globally. That's what we want to do. The first thing in your packet is something that before you leave, I would like for you to fill out. And it was pointed out to us that the wrong dates are on there. So I copied it without looking at the dates. On the front of this page, on this information page, I want the officers that are going to be officers during your year. So the president will be you as the PE, you will be the president. When you flip it over to the back, it's asking for next year's officers. Some of you know some of the officers. You may know your president line. The date is wrong. It should be 2022, 2023, which actually will be Al Clark's year. Now you're asking, why do you need to know those now? In just a few months, Al is going to start his training for his PEs. So that is the most important one of those that we need. We need to make sure that in DAC-DB, you have your officers in there, because we want to make sure that we're getting the right information to somebody. And who was it that was saying, Beth, was it you that said if you don't get your president in there, then you're going to be the president again next year? So I know that, in fact, I had a few this year that I thought were going to have to serve another year, but we finally got the PEs named. After that, there's one slot, I think, just for the president for the next year, which will be the PN next year. And that just helps Susie out. She can start contacting her presidents if she needs to. And I know some of you don't know all these yet, but as you find out, that if you would, just let us know. Those of you that are Zooming with us, if you can fill that out and then email it to me, I would appreciate it so that we can try to make sure that we have all of that information.
So Cindy, that would be 2022, 23. The first one, and the next one is 23, 24.
Yes, that is correct. The question was, that would be on the back 2022, 23 for the first one, and the second one would be 2023, 2024. Thank you, Bonnie. All right, I have given you this next sheet before. It's Rotary's vision statement, and it's just what Rotary says about together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our community, and in ourselves. Would you all agree with that? I definitely. Then down below, and I can't even see my PowerPoint, the priorities and objectives are below. And the thing about this, you want to keep these in mind when you're thinking about service projects, or you're thinking of different ways to raise money for certain things. Keep these in mind, because that's what Rotary is about. This is our vision statement. This is what we want to do as an organization. And so we want to make sure that the things that we are doing as clubs aligns with Rotary. All right, let's talk about your year. You met President Shaker when we met before. We showed it on Pets, right? Y'all watched it on Mid-South Pets. How many enjoyed his speech? He is fabulous. That's awesome. He is a really great speaker, and he is a motivator. I think I've watched it about 4 times. Maybe I watched it the other day again just to get it back in my head. If you've not seen his speech, I knew that most of you had, and so I didn't want to take the time to do it. You can look him up on YouTube. That is actually where they have the speech, and you can watch it yourself. I know that when we had Pets, he actually addressed the PEs, didn't he? Did he not address the presidents in that speech? So they had changed it just a little bit, because when I watched it, and the one that's online is actually to the district governors, but he's also made the same speech for the presidents. One of the things that he really pushes, he said we have been 1.3 million Rotarians for the past 14, 15 years. And if you look at our statistics and look at our membership, it's been 1.3 million. As far back as I can remember that I even knew how many people, 1.2, yeah, it's down to 1.2 now, right? Okay, 1.2. He wants to go to, okay, I'm sorry. 1.2. So he wants to move up. So what do we have to do that? Every year we talk about membership. Every year we talk about how we can increase membership. And if you're going to be in Shelley's breakout session this afternoon, she's going to talk more in depth about Shaker's push and his campaign for membership. But his is simple, each one bring one. So what does that mean? That means in your club, if you have 30 members, we want every member, all 30 members, to bring a guest in 1 year. Now that sounds like a lot, because I look back at my club and we have about 40 members, and I think every year we ask them to bring somebody, and every year we're struggling to figure out somebody to bring. It doesn't have to be the head banker down the road or the lawyer that just came to town. It can be anybody. Anybody. Bring a guest to Rotary, and then talk to them about it, and you may get them interested, and then you have a new member. Now, we know that every guest that you bring is not going to join Rotary, but the idea is that if each member brings a guest, you're going to increase in membership, because you're going to have some people that want to join your club. Shaker wants you to increase your club membership 100%. And you laugh, and I do too. But I think it's a great goal, because what he says, if we all bring a member and they all join, then we're going to move off of that 1.2 million number. So each one bring one. That's going to be one of the things that we'll talk about a little bit about our goals, but that is a goal. Each one bring one. It's simple. You just ask somebody. Tell them about Rotary and ask. How many of you do a membership, not a drive, but when you have new members coming in, you take them to lunch and you talk to them about Rotary and what it is to get them more interested? I know our club does. Does anybody? That's a great thing, and Shelley will probably talk about this afternoon, but if not, just Deb raised her hand, Beth raised her hand. We do that. We invite somebody to come eat lunch with us, and the membership committee talks to them and talks about our Rotary Club and what we do and how we work with the community and globally, and it's always a really good meeting. All right, do you have the pamphlet about Rotary Days of Service? And this is something that Shaker wants us to do this year. So let's talk about what Rotary Days of Service is. It won't be a specific day, because it would be impossible for every Rotary Club to do it on the same day. This is also a membership initiative for him. This is a way for us to get members into our clubs. He wants you as a club, as a president, to get with your club and think of some kind of service that you can do within the community. But he doesn't want it to be 100% participation from your club. He also wants you to have at least 25% of non-Rotarians participating in your Rotary Days of Service. So that means you have to do what? You have to ask people, right? Some of the ways that he has suggested are just bring family members with you, or to invite people from other service clubs. He also wants you, if you have Interact clubs, to invite the Interact kids to join with you. Rob talked earlier about how Knoxville all joins together, and I think of it's a perfect thing for all the Knoxville clubs and all the Rotary clubs, I mean, all the Interact clubs in Knoxville and that type of thing. Same with all the other communities. If you're close enough to some of the clubs, you can get together with other clubs, other Rotary clubs, and plan this. But if you invite 25% non-Rotarians and they come do a service project with you, what's that going to do? That's going to pique their interest, and they're going to want to know more about Rotary, and that you may get some new members that way. It's also a perfect way to include your Interact clubs, because I'm telling you, our Interact club is fabulous. We have two. We have one at the junior high and one at the high school, and they actually outdo us every year. Service projects, fundraisers, working with the community, just all kinds of things. They are fabulous. So they are a great resource for you for your Rotary Days of Service. And I highly recommend that you include them in this. So the whole thing behind this is the fact that you're going to bring non-Rotarians in and you're going to work together on a service project. And I know probably a lot of your clubs you already joined together with a Lions Club or a Kiwanis Club or some other type club, but this would be a great way for you to do that. Do more and grow more. Shelley talked a little bit about this as well. Do you think doing more will make you grow more? Yeah, I think if you do more, you're only going to grow more if you do what? I couldn't hear. Promote it, exactly. If you do more and do more and do more, if you don't promote what you're doing, nobody's going to know what you're doing and they're not going to want to be a part of it. So that falls back on what Greg talked to everyone about earlier, is that in order to grow more, we want to do more. And Shaker will say, do more to grow more and grow more to do more. Because if you grow more, you have more members and you can do more. Now, it's not all about members. It's about what we do for the community. But with more members, we can definitely do more within the community and around the world. One of Shaker's other initiatives is empowering girls. And I love this initiative because you can do just about anything with this. His thoughts, and he talked a lot about how we can empower girls in third world countries and other places, because we don't think about it here. We have so many things in the United States that they don't have that we take it for granted. And he talked a lot about young girls that quit school once they become young women because they don't have the supplies that they need in order to be able to be in public places because they're not provided that. So one of the things that he talked about was that you can buy kits for girls. It's like a 5-day kit to take care of their cycle and they can go to school. So in other countries, he's wanting to push for people to do things like that or buy them bicycles. They don't have ways to get to school because it's so far away. And so other clubs are talking about buying bicycles for young girls so that they can go to school and get their education and graduate. There are so many different ways that we can do this. It's an endless list of things. Something that I'm working with the other district governors in zones 30 and 31, we want to do something empowering girls that goes along with sex trafficking and human trafficking. And there is actually, if you did not know it, there are some Rotary clubs that is what their club does. They are a sex trafficking or human trafficking club. I know there's one in Kentucky and there's one out west somewhere. I can't think of where it is. What we're wanting to do, and we're just in the preliminary stages, so it's probably going to be a year-long process, but we've all been meeting together because we feel like in order for girls, young girls, but young boys as well, and young adults, in order for them to know how to recognize this, we need to educate them. So I know that in this district, the emphasis is going to be on educating young girls, young boys, and young adults to let them know what sex trafficking is, what it looks like, so that they can learn about it, so that they will know how to stay away from it or to protect them from it. We have talked to several different organizations. Governor Ron put me in touch with Katie Little, who's from the Knoxville area. She's a Peace Fellow. And I actually have not talked to her, but I've gotten in touch with the organization she works with out of Knoxville. And it was very interesting as far as what we're going to talk about. I know in my area, the SRO officers are in the school system. And so we're going to try to partner with them. That's what the district governors are talking about, partnering with SRO officers or other adults that can go into the schools and help teach the children about that. So all kinds of things. That's going to be a district initiative. It won't roll out for a little while because we're still working on it. But as PEs and as presidents for next year, just work with your boards and think of ways that you can help to empower young women and girls so that they can be successful. Another thing that we really need to focus on when we talk about membership is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I think for several years, we've really tried to focus on that, but you all will agree with all the things that are going on in this day and this time, that that's something that we really need to be mindful about as we think about new members and think about different things that we can do to help with these issues, because they're not going to go away. It is a problem and we need to work on them. So he wants to make sure that when we're thinking about adding new members and bringing new members in, to keep these things in mind when we're asking people, because we always ask the same people. So let's go out, branch out and ask some different people. Of course, this is our our theme for next year, serve to change lives. And I think that that is a great theme coming off of last year. There's a lot of things that we can do. There's a lot of ways that we can implement that. And that's something that as president of next year that you will be working with your clubs so that we can work together to change lives in many different ways. So let's talk about our goals for just a minute. And I'm gonna have to put my glasses on. We always have goals. There's goals in everything. We have goals that are in our jobs. We have goals in Rotary. We have goals in life. If we've been eating bad, we want to start eating well, so we set goals to change the way we eat. Or if it's Christmas time and New Year's and we eat too much food over the holidays, then we set goals to lose a little weight. So there's goals in everything we do. And so going off of what Shaker has talked about and all of the things in his campaign and his theme, I have developed some goals for us as a district that I would like to see us work on. Some of them are from RI President Shaker. Some of them I've looked at the goals that the past district governors have had and trying to stay in line with what they have been building. We don't want to change the way we're doing things. We want to add to them. So looking at our goals in the membership with the each one bring one, Shaker wants us all to bring somebody, 100%, everybody brings somebody. And I know that's not gonna happen. I know that just because of what's going on, you know, we're trying to come back together. We're trying to start meeting again. We're trying to build our membership back up because I know that several people have lost members this year. Our numbers have gone from over 3,000 to, I can't remember what Governor Ron said, 2,900 and what was it? 28. So it's down to 28. So we've lost quite a few members in our district. I really feel like because everything's opening up, people are meeting again, and we're getting to get back together, that is going to change. I think that members are going to come back, and then we're going to be able to bring new members in because people are going to want to get involved. So I'm not doing 100%. I think I have 40% down. If 40% of the members participate, that's my goal. 40% of your members. So think about your club, how many you have in your club, and hopefully at least 40% of your members will bring somebody to a meeting. Now, that 40% doesn't mean that Norm brings 6, and so we count that for 6 members. Nope, Norm brought 6. He did great. He's an overachiever. That's still just one person bringing somebody. So we won't, and there's nothing wrong with that, but we want to try to get others to bring members as well. And then I have a net increase of 5% in your club membership. I think usually we have 2 to 3%. Beth, and I talked about this last night, I did have 25% down there. I was really shooting for a big one. And I thought, no, 25 is hard. It's hard for our club at 3% sometimes. So I increased it to 5%. That's a goal. These are just goals. You don't have to hit these, but this is what I want you to shoot for. 40% to each one bring one, and then 5% of your 5% increase. And then certainly focus your membership on diversity. Try to bring new members in that are diverse. Look at what your club is made of. Who's in your club? Is it all white bald men that are 50 and older? And I said that and I'm 50, so 55. So, but look at that. Who's in your club? Do you have very many women in there? Try to be diverse. Try to get some new members in. All right, Rotary Days of Service. You have the pamphlet and it lists some of the things that you have to do. But I want you to plan an event with 2 or more Rotary, Rotaract, or Interact clubs. I want you to align it with 1 or more of Rotary's areas of focus. How many areas of focus are there going to be next year? 7. Thank you, Beth. What are we adding next year? Environment. Environment. If you all will remember when Debbie Alexander Davis was governor, she actually had a project for the environment. Does anybody remember what that was?
We all went out to the Bahamas and did all sorts of projects there.
We did. Cleaned out the mangrove. Did she also want us to plant trees? Was that year too? Donna Fair got us trees from somewhere that we could get if you couldn't get any in your county. So she did a big environment project her district governor year. And yes, Norm, we went to the Bahamas and did lots of projects there. That was great. And then you want at least 25% non-Rotarians to help with your project. And then you need to meet at least 3 of the additional guidelines that are listed in the Rotary Days of Service pamphlet. And then how are we going to celebrate our accomplishments? What are we going to do to celebrate? Public image. We don't want to celebrate by ourselves because if we do that, nobody's going to know what we did. So we're going to celebrate by using public image, either social media, the newspaper, a billboard. We have our bank, one of our local banks, has about 6 ads that roll on our billboard, and we have about 4 or 5 Rotarians in that bank. So every once in a while, we'll have Rotary ads going through the billboard. So we want to let everybody know what we're doing, not because we're patting ourselves on the back, but because we want more people to get involved. So don't think of it as patting yourself on the back. All right, empowering girls. I want you to participate in not only your club, Empowering Girls, but I want you to, when we figure out what it's going to look like, I want you to participate in the zone initiative as well. And then change makers making a difference. Our Rotary Foundation goals, average of $125 per member in annual giving. That's $25 more than what we usually ask, although I think the last several years we've been asking for $125 per member. Part of that is just like membership, our numbers drop. Maybe not necessarily overall, but in the clubs and other places, our numbers drop. Yes, Warren.
As in our club, when we first started, it was much more business-oriented people. As we have brought new members in, they're not necessarily CEOs and presidents, so they're having to pay their membership dues on their own. So while we continue to stress, you know, the $100 a year, I didn't know that it was $125, but you know, are other clubs finding it harder for the younger people to do the foundation side of it? You know, our club stresses foundation. There's no question about that.
Right.
But we found that sometimes the younger people, some of them struggle to pay the dues, let alone the extra.
Right. So he's asking, I don't think you can hear on Zoom, as we bring newer members in and they're younger and just getting started and don't make the money that CEOs and others make, that it's hard to get them to pay the $100 or $125 a year. And I agree with that. Some of the things that some clubs are doing, they're making them pay less in dues because they're just getting started. There's different ways that you can work that to try to get them to, but I understand, you know, most of them are starting with kids and families and they don't have the money. So it's a goal, and I know that, and we all know that everybody's not going to do it. Of course, this is an average per member, so any members that donate more, that goes towards the
But we want, our club wants to buy.
Right.
Give whatever they give to the club and to the foundation and to whatever else we do within Rotary, but you know, part of what Greg said, you know, if you write it, you'll underwrite, right?
Right.
some of them have a harder time. Don't relate the relevance of that as much as someone who's more established and their company is paying for it.
Right. That is true. He's just saying that it's hard to get buy-in with them, and it's hard because they struggle. A lot of companies pay for some, and then they're having to pay their own dues plus that. I agree. Beth, do you have any suggestions?
I would just say that, you know, when you do orientation with them, that you ask for the commitment. You know, and I've never had anybody say, no, I can't do it. But that you would need to be ready for that response. No, I don't know if I can do the $150. So then what do you do?
Right.
But I've never had anybody tell me they couldn't do it. What would you say to that? Because I don't have that, I can't afford it. I would probably, you know, try to ascertain what their situation was, like if the employer was requiring them to do Rotary. You know, the donation is optional for anybody. I've taken care of $100. If it's a temporary thing, they can't, you know, they can't make it that year. It's an interesting thing if they were to say, I can't do that. The question would come up, can you afford to be enrolled? Because, you know, you got the meal responsibility, you have the dues responsibility. And we even saw in our club that when people's companies, they change companies and went to work for somebody else who wouldn't pay their dues, they quit. You know, so they really weren't Rotarians. Were they? Because, you know, they were doing it because the employer required it. So you've got a few of those.
What time is it? Right now? Are we really? Oh, gosh. Okay. All right. Yes.
So you also have to make sure a new member understands why it's important.
Right. Make sure a new member understands why it's important.
3 years, and I'm just now understanding
right.
what the foundation is and why I should give to it.
Right. I agree. Yeah. Education on the foundation is a lot, and then training as well. Okay. Greg just pointed out we're out of time. So let me quickly go through some other things because we have other sessions starting. If you look on the back of that page or the second page for those that have it online, this is how you can receive the district governor's citation and the citation with distinction. So the goals are on the front, and then on the back, I have how you can receive that. The next thing in your packet, well, I've just put this up here, and I will send an email on both of those because we're running out of time. All right, citation, goals, and instructions. So every year, before, was it your year that it changed? Ron's year. Used to, every new Rotary International president would have brand new goals, and we would have to figure out what those goals were and try to do those. So during Governor Ron's year, they changed it to citation, goals, and instructions. So this is how you can get the citation from the international president. You have to do so many, is it 13 out of 25? It's 13 out of 25. So this is something for you to go back with your clubs and to look through this and to decide which goals. And while we're talking about goals, I know Governor Greg talked about it as well. We need you to put your goals into DAC-DB. Into My Rotary. So if you need help doing that, your assistant governors can help you. I can help you. Any of the district any of the district people, we can all help you. So if you need help getting your goals in, please contact somebody to do that, because we really want you to get your goals in, and you have to do that in order to qualify for the citation from the president. All right, next is my visitation, my club visit schedule. I had some mistakes on there. Janice Mitchell had one club when I first did this. So I've sent this out several times just so people can make sure. I left 2 clubs out and nobody caught it. I found it when I was double checking my spreadsheet to this. So just check and see where your club visit is. If you end up having some kind of conflict, please let me know in advance so that I can reschedule and so that I don't come and all of a sudden I'm not supposed to be there. I will tell you that I have tried to put these in areas because I live on the far west of our district. And so it's easier if I can come to the far east and visit those clubs together. So I've tried to do that, but if there's a problem and I need to reschedule, I will do that. That won't be an issue. The next is the district calendar. Most of the dates are in there. And then John Downs gave me the new date for the donuts. So I will put that in there and send it back out to you. I didn't know what the date was going to be yet. And he said Wednesday, October, does anybody remember? 20th, that's right. Wednesday, October 20th. So that will be added. And as he finds out about the ball games, we will add that as well. Let me check. All right, last thing. District conference. District conference is going to be April 21st through the 24th. It is going to be the first get together that we've had as a group, as a whole district in a long time. So it will be a full district conference. I know Governor Ron is doing a smaller conference in June, but we're going to be in Murfreesboro at the Embassy Suites, and we are bringing the golf tournament back to put it with the district conference, and we're going to make it exciting and fun. So we want you to encourage your clubs and the members in your club to come. Anybody can come to district conference. It's not just for the district people, and it's not just for the PEs, the presidents, and it's for everybody. Bring your family, come and have a good time. We'll talk more about it as we get more things settled, but come. Together again is the theme. We're together again. District 6780 is together again, finally. So make plans, mark your calendar, get as many people as you can in your club to commit to coming, and we will have a great celebration. All right, I know I have run through that, and I'm sorry. I want you to have a little bit of a break. If anybody has questions, just email them to me, or those that are here, you can stay and ask me. Those of you on Zoom and in here, I've asked for headshots for the directory. Some have already sent me some, if you will do that. We're going to take some if you would rather just go ahead and take some, but a lot of people have them for their work, so I've received a lot. And make sure to leave this sheet with me if you've already filled it out. All right? Thank you all. We're going to have a great year, and I appreciate you coming, and it was great to see all of you. Thank you, everybody on Zoom, too. I appreciate it.